In this lecture, I'm going to spin you a story that is so plausible that it's easy to feel like it almost has to be true. We'll see what the story is, and we can decide at the end if we think it really is true. There are a couple of really interesting things that have happened in the last decade with regard to life on Mars, life on Earth in extreme environments, and interplanetary conditions. One is that, as we discussed way back in Unit 1, there's good evidence that Mars started out at least 4 times. Maybe they were intermittent times, maybe it was an extended period of times, but where it was warmer and wetter in some places, maybe predominantly subsurface, but maybe there were certainly places, not just maybe, but there are certainly places on the surface where there were things that looked like habitable environments. Not inhabited environments, but habitable environments. Another thing that we've learned in the last couple of decades, that if you go pick up meteorites in Antarctica, occasionally you'll get these very special ones that come from the moon. You'll get ones that come from Vesta, and we even get ones that come from Mars. Materials are transferring back and forth between Mars and the Earth, Earth and the Mars, all the time. How does that happen? Well, imagine giant impact comes in, smashes Mars, ejecta goes up into the sky, and some of it actually goes up and escapes Mars orbit and rattles around the inner solar system for a while, eventually finds itself on an Earth-crossing path, hits the Earth's atmosphere, lands in Antarctica. We pick it up. You probably remember years ago now when there was this huge announcement that a Martian meteorite had been found with evidence for microbial life inside of it. And in case you haven't gotten the picture, in the intervening years, pretty much nobody believed that that was actually evidence for Martian life inside that rock. But it sparked the interest in studying those Martian rocks to learn what we could about them. And one of the, I think, really interesting things about that Martian rock that was found was that it retained much of the magnetism that it had when it left the surface of Mars. Now, when you take something that has a remnant magnetic field like we know about Mars, if you take something like that and you heat it up, the magnetic field that material have will slowly decay away as all of the magnetic little dipoles inside there realign randomly. So the fact that this Martian meteorite still had a remnant magnetic field meant that it never got very hot. It never got very hot, and it was ejected into space in an impact. That's a little bit surprising. I would have guessed, many people would have guessed that yes, you can eject stuff into space, but it's only going to be molten and solidifying as it gets into space. But no, unmelted chunks, in fact, substantially unheated chunks of the surface of the planet get ejected into space. And when that happens, they can eventually land on a different planet. So one more thing we've learned in the last couple decades, or maybe we knew this all along, which is life is persistent. Microbial life is persistent. Anyone who's ever tried to disinfect their kitchen and keep it clean knows that this is true. You can spray as much bleach as you want all over it, but eventually the little buggers will come back. In the last couple lectures, we talked about life in all sorts of environments. And one of the environments that we've tested microbes in is the environment of space. We have left microbes exposed in space for years in conditions that are, there should be radiation damage. They, of course, have no nutrients, no oxygen. Brought them back down, and they were easily revived. Not all of them, but there are a particular class of radiation-resistant bacteria that can survive in space for as long as we've left them there. We now have enough pieces to put together the entire puzzle. What if, early on in the history of the Earth were hit by a large meteor and chunks of the Earth flew off into space? On those chunks of Earth, perhaps, would have been microbes. Not just perhaps. If you picked up a chunk of the Earth anywhere around here right now, you would definitely have microbes. Those microbes, some of them could survive the rigors of space, and they would land places. Where would they land? Well, maybe they'd land on Venus. What happens? They're fried to death. It's too hot. Where would they land? Well, maybe they would land in the sun. That's not so good either. But occasionally, they would inevitably land on Mars. And remember, this is early on. They would land on Mars when it was warm and it was wet. And what would they do? Well, I have to tell you, if you took a rock with microbes on it and you put it in a warm and wet environment on the Earth, you would get a lot of microbes. It's hard to imagine that landing on Mars in this environment would not lead to a flourishing of a microbial community in the spot where it landed. It's equally difficult to imagine that once it gets established, that it is impossible to eradicate. Life is hard to get rid of. It finds these niches, it stays in these niches, and you can't get rid of it. If this process ever happened, if microbes transferred from the Earth to Mars, it would be very easy to imagine that they would still be there today somewhere. Deep underground, hot springs, extreme environments, not on the surface. The surface, even though we now know it's not necessarily sterile, the surface is still a harsh environment. So if I were a microbe today, I would be somewhere underground. Did this really happen? Well, yes. I can tell you some of the parts of the story definitely happened. Rocks that were blasted off the Earth landed on Mars. Rocks that got blasted off the Earth probably had microbes on them. Rocks that got blasted off the Earth that landed on Mars probably still had living microbes on them. It's really hard to imagine a solar system scenario in which that doesn't happen. This leads me, and has led me, you can find me in different places around being interviewed, giving my opinion on this, to say that there must be life on Mars. It is harder to imagine that there's not life on Mars than that there is life on Mars. Now, this doesn't mean that life formed on Mars. I'm just saying that life has been contaminated, that Earth has contaminated Mars with life over billions of years, and that it's very hard to escape that conclusion. Although there is an alternative way of looking at it. The alternative way of looking at it is that with the thick atmosphere of the Earth, it's actually a little bit hard to eject the rocks off the Earth. It's not impossible, but it's hard. It's a little easier the other way around. What if Mars was a more hospitable place early on in its warmer and wetter period? Earth might have been a little too cold at that point. What if a rock got blasted off of Mars that did have microbes, kind of like that claim from 15 years ago? What if it did have microbes? What if it landed on the Earth? And what if it found a hospitable place to develop on the Earth? What if, in fact, we go back and we look for microbes on Mars and we find them, and in fact, we're really just returning to the place from which we came? Okay, it's a crazy idea, but it's actually not that crazy of an idea. How would you know? Well, I would say that if you go to Mars and you find microbes, when you go to Mars and you do find microbes, what will they be like? If they evolved independently on Mars than on Earth, then we shouldn't expect them to be any like those on the Earth at all. But if they really were blasted off the Earth, or they blasted off of Mars and we evolved from Martian microbes, when we get there, they will look familiar. By look familiar, I mean they will have the same sorts of DNA, RNA that we have, that our life is based on. It's hard for me to imagine that two places would evolve that sort of complexity exactly the same way two separate times. If you do find it, what is it going to tell us about life? What is it going to tell us about Mars? Well, interestingly, less than we might have thought at first. If we find life on Mars, and that life resembles ours enough to be convinced that it's a contamination event, it doesn't tell us about the evolution of life. It doesn't tell us how easy it is for life to form on different places. What it really tells us about is the resilience of life. It tells us about how hard it is to eradicate life once it gets started somewhere, and how easy it is to spread not just throughout our own planet, but perhaps throughout the solar system. Is it a crazy idea? Yeah, it's a totally crazy idea. It's hard to dispute most of the legs of the argument, though. It's hard to dispute that somewhere on Mars, one of these microbes, or the descendants of one of these microbes that transported across space billions of years ago, is still there, growing deep underground, waiting for us to go track it down.